All right, hello and welcome everyone to today's produce spotlight class for today. My name is Charlotte Shine. I'm one of the Giant Company dietitians. I hope everybody is experiencing what I am here. The wonderful weather is definitely starting to feel like spring, which is very, very nice, I think. So hopefully everybody has the sun out where you are at. So March is National Frozen Foods Month, and today we are going to be spotlighting corn, which is probably a pretty common frozen produce item that you already use. So we're going to talk a little bit about the nutrition component and then how to use it. And we're going to be making a vegan tortilla soup, which will be very delicious and is from Savory. All right. So before we get into corn, I just wanted to highlight frozen produce because it is National Frozen Foods Month. But I want to ask everybody a question first. So our first poll, do you use frozen fruit or vegetables? So let me go ahead and pull up that poll and you can go ahead and answer that. There we go. Okay. So again, the question is, do you eat frozen fruit or vegetables? You can say yes for both, yes, just fruit, yes, just vegetables, or none at all. So hopefully if you do not eat any frozen fruits or vegetables, hopefully this class will inspire you to do so. I know one of my favorite frozen fruit items right now is broccoli, just because my daughters are very obsessed with broccoli right now, so it makes it very convenient. Okay, so I'll go ahead and end the poll and let's see what everybody had to say. So it looks like the majority of you do eat both fruits and vegetables that are frozen, which is very great. Some fruit and then a couple vegetables, and then I think just a couple of you said none. So again, hopefully this class today will inspire you to incorporate it into your daily routine. So thanks everybody for answering that question. Okay, so I just wanted to just review why frozen fruits and vegetables are a great thing to incorporate. So they're picked at peak ripeness and usually frozen within hours. So what this means is that it helps to freeze or lock in those vitamins and minerals. And they are very convenient and affordable, especially when stuff is not in season. And they actually may be more nutrient packed than fresh. There's been a couple research studies that have shown this. And the reason being is because sometimes when fruits or vegetables come from afar, when they're in a truck or wherever they're traveling, each day they tend to lose their nutrition, their vitamins and minerals and how dense that is as they're traveling. So since they're packed at peak, they may have more fruits and more vitamins and minerals. Also, there was a study that showed that families who incorporate frozen produce tend to have better diet quality. So a bunch of reasons to incorporate, or good reasons to incorporate frozen produce items. So we are going to be talking about corn. So I'm sure a lot of you have incorporated corn, pretty popular to incorporate frozen corn into different types of recipes, but these are some of our products at Giant and Martin's. So the first one being a peas and sweet corn combination. We have regular sweet corn, the yellow, also white, which we'll be incorporating in today's recipe. You can get frozen mini corn cobs. So normally in season, of course, or out of season, you would probably be more likely to buy that, but you can definitely get the corn on the cob. Also, we have some steam ready varieties, which makes it super easy to just put it in the microwave and then microwave it for a couple minutes and then you're good to go. Also, succotash, which I can't say that I incorporate a lot, but it's like that corn and lima bean combination. So maybe some of you have incorporated that. So those are some frozen corn items at Giant Martin's that next time that you go to the store, definitely give those a try. So I wanted to review, of course, the nutritional benefits of corn. So 1 cup has about or around 177 calories. It's a great source of vitamin C, so beneficial for the immune system. So for 1 cup, it gives us 17% of the daily value. Fiber, it's a great source of fiber. And as Americans, we definitely don't get enough fiber throughout the day. So 1 cup is around 4.6 grams. So we know that this helps to promote healthy gut bacteria in the gut. Also thiamine, which is vitamin B1. This helps and is beneficial for our nervous system and also blood sugar regulation as well. So in 1 cup is 24% of our daily value, and as well as potassium, which is very beneficial for heart health. So 10% of the daily value in 1 cup. So those are just a couple of the many nutritional benefits of corn. So definitely something that you want to, incorporate if you can into your daily meal routine. So I always like to talk a little bit about how to use frozen corn. There are definitely a variety of ways to do so. And basically, I mean, a lot of people too will just make the corn, maybe put a little bit of butter and salt on it and, use it as a side dish, but you can definitely use it in a variety of different ways. So the first one being salsa. So you can always combine that with maybe some black beans, red onion, bell pepper, cilantro, and lime juice. That's always one of I love lime juice with corn and that kind of salsa combination. You can incorporate it into any salad. So I know I always like to make a taco salad, and I always put on some corn on top of that. So you can always mix even a salad with just some tomatoes, onions, avocado, and some type of vinaigrette that you like. You can make corn fritters or cornbread. You can incorporate it into some stir fry that you may like with a little bit of soy sauce. You can use it in a taco or as a burrito filling. Also, and I have a recipe in a couple slides for a burrito recipe on savory. Also, if you are big into rice or grain bowls, which are popular right now, like a quinoa brown rice bowl, you can put it on top of that, put it into casseroles like a shepherd's pie, which is super popular where I live. Soups and stews, that's probably a very common one to incorporate corn. So corn chowder, vegetable soup, even into many different types of chili. Or you can make your own succotash, so made with corn, lima beans, tomatoes, and any type of other vegetables. So when you're thinking about frozen corn, maybe you have a package in the freezer, definitely think about maybe other ways of how you can use it because there's a variety of ways to use frozen corn. So definitely trying to think outside the box. Okay, so these are some corn pairings. So for produce, so some produce items that go really well with corn, things like tomato and bell peppers, avocado, which I have a great avocado dip recipe in a couple slides, which is super delicious. Onions, which tend to go well with a lot of different produce items, zucchini, lime or lime juice, mango, and peaches as well. Also, when thinking about herbs, we have cilantro, which will go well with the soup recipe that we're making for today as a topping. And it goes well into salads, salsas, and that type of thing. Also, basil, which tends to complement the corn's sweetness. So white corn tends to be a little bit more sweeter than the yellow, but basil is a really good combination. Also thyme in soups and chowders, some chili powders. So we're going to be incorporating chili powder in our recipe today, and even paprika as well. And thinking about proteins, things like chicken and shrimp, bacon, black beans, which is another ingredient we'll be using in our vegan tortilla soup, and even cheese. So thinking about corn, thinking about how to bring out those different flavors, these are some corn pairings to think about. Okay, so this is our most recent magazine with Savory. I don't know if anybody has seen it in store. It should be in store right now. They tend to go fast, but you can also see it online as well. So these are some corn recipes. They're not necessarily in this edition, but you can look at them online. All right, so this is the dip recipe that I think is super delicious. I have made this numerous times. Does they get 3 guiding stars, which is our nutritional navigation program. So the more stars that a recipe or product has in store, the more nutritionally beneficial it is. So again, more vitamins, minerals, fiber, healthy fats, and those types of things. So this avocado corn dip gets 3 stars. You can see here on the left, not too many ingredients that you need, but some green onion, 2 ripe avocados, which especially if you have avocados, you don't really know what to do with them, definitely try this recipe because it's very easy to whip up. So you're going to incorporate some lime juice, olive oil, non-fat Greek yogurt, which will give a little bit of a protein pop. And then you can do fresh or frozen, of course, thawed corn kernels. So you're just going to mash up that avocado and add in the other ingredients. But for each serving, it does have 4 grams of fiber, so definitely helping you to get the fiber that we need throughout the day. So this is just one option for if you want to incorporate corn into a dip. It does get 3 guiding stars. Also, we have a casserole. So we mentioned that casseroles are a great way to incorporate corn. So this is a turkey and corn skillet casserole. It does get 2 guiding stars. Has 7 grams of fiber per serving and 37 grams of protein. So if you're really looking to up that protein and fiber, this is a great recipe to do so. But just incorporating some lean ground turkey, chili powder, tomatoes, corn, pinto beans, and cheese. I don't know if I said onion, but onion and then some olive oil as well. But super easy to make, but another option for a way to use frozen corn. This is also really easy if you just want to have leftovers throughout the week. Pretty easy to make. And then I always like a good burrito, but this is a corn egg quinoa burrito. So quinoa giving us some protein, but again, very simple recipe for someone who's busy on the go. So you can incorporate some quinoa or brown rice, frozen corn that's thawed, and then the burrito to just wrap all those ingredients in there. So avocado, some small red beans, you could probably do pinto or black beans, some salsa, and then whatever lettuce that you would like. I think even like arugula or spinach would go well with this burrito. But it does get 20 grams of protein and a lot of fiber, which I always like because again, we don't always get the fiber that we need. But again, this recipe gets 1 guiding star. So those are just some recipe ideas that are super delicious and then ways to use corn. Okay, so we oh. So recipe inspiration is a vegan tortilla soup. And again, this is one of our savory recipes. So this vegan tortilla soup, so very colorful, a lot of flavor going on. So it gets 2 guiding stars. So what I did before class is I already cut up a yellow onion. Probably see this better when I stop sharing my screen, but we have some yellow onions, so I diced that up and we're going to saute that with some olive oil in our pot over here. So the other thing that I am going to incorporate is some vegan chicken. So this is a vegan tortilla soup, which means none of the ingredients come from any animal sources. But if you want just a regular tortilla soup, you can incorporate just regular chicken if you would like. You can just substitute probably like 2 cups of shredded chicken. We're also going to incorporate some black beans, so some good fiber in there. So what I did with the black beans is I already drained and rinsed those. We're also going to be incorporating some diced fire roasted tomatoes, vegetable broth, chili powder, and those types of things. And let me just show you before I stop sharing my screen. So these are just some soup toppings to think about. These are totally optional, but they also give some good flavor. So what you could do at the end is put a little bit of chopped cilantro on. You could do some lime juice. Or you can even cut the lime into different wedges and just kind of put it on the side. So before you eat it, you can squeeze it and put lime juice on it. Again, if you're not looking for a vegan type of soup, if you want to incorporate more animal based products, you can incorporate our Greek non-fat yogurt, the plain. This helps to give a little bit more protein, so you can just put a dollop right on top. I always like a good guacamole, so you could definitely put a little bit of guacamole on top, or even some chopped up green onions as well. So even when we make the soup and after, there's a variety of different toppings that you could add to it. So just wanted to give everybody some ideas with that. All right, so with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we will get started with our soup. All right. Okay, now can everybody see my screen? Just want to make sure before I get started. You can put, okay, good. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this. So the first thing I'm going to do, so I have my pot right here. Let me actually move some of these so you can see. So I, again, already pre-chopped my yellow onion. So right here. So I'm just going to put about a tablespoon of just our extra virgin olive oil, just right in here. Turn my pot up. So probably just to like maybe medium or so. I'm just going to add my one yellow onion that I chopped before class. Let me actually just kind of rotate this to make sure that the oil is over. So we want to saute this for just a couple minutes or so until it's translucent. Just cooked a little bit. And then pretty much after that, we're just going to add all the other ingredients. So I added in 1 cup of diced, I shouldn't say 1 cup, 1 yellow onion that is diced. So hopefully this will heat up in a little bit. Okay, so Yep, and the heat is definitely going. So I had mentioned that we're going to use a vegan chicken. So this is the vegan chicken that I'm using. Again, if you don't mind that the soup is vegan or not vegan, you can always incorporate just regular chicken. But I'm going to be using a plant-based chicken. So this is made from tofu. So we're going to chop up 2 of these packages. So this is an 8-ounce package and is in usually the Nature's Promise natural food section in the store. But again, this is lightly seasoned chicken and it's made pretty much out of tofu. So I'm just going to use that. So I already took the 2, or let me try to say, open the packages up. And so this is what the chicken is. So we're just going to chop this up and just into, of course it is already has liver pieces, but I'm just going to chop it up just a little bit more. So let me turn this up a little bit more. See if I can hear it sizzling. So again, with the onion, we just want this to cook for just a couple minutes or so. So while that is cooking, I'm going to chop this up. And actually, let me do, while that's cooking and I'm chopping this up, I'm going to do my other poll question. And that is well, here, let me pull it up. So to do with white corn and then yellow corn. Let's pull this up. Okay. All right, hopefully everybody can see that. So my other poll question is, so yellow corn contains more beta carotene. So we know that beta carotene, the body converts it to vitamin A, which we know that it's really important for eye health and immune health. So does yellow corn have more beta carotene than white corn? So give everybody a little bit to answer that. So I'm just cutting up my vegan chicken into smaller pieces. Great. So I will stop sharing the poll and I'm almost done cutting up this chicken into just smaller pieces. I can hear my onions sizzling a little bit, so that's good. All right. Just a piece over here. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen, or I'll end the poll and then I'll share the results. So once say half and half, but it looks like 144 you said true, then 70 red said false. So this is actually true. So yellow corn does contain more beta carotene than white corn. So and the other difference between white and yellow corn tends to, well, obviously the color is different, but yellow corn tends to have more of like a rubbery, not as sweet taste to it. But so that's your fun fact for corn for the day. So yellow corn definitely contains more of beta carotene. Okay. All right, so my onions are sizzling, so we're just gonna do just a little bit more with this. I also wanted just to mention too, so one of the other toppings that you can do at the end, so we mentioned green onions, guacamole, cilantro, Greek yogurt. You can also add our blue corn tortilla chips. This is our Nature's Promise blue corn tortilla chips. That does get 1 guiding star. These are really delicious. Really taste good with like any type of taco bowl or any type of dish like that. But you can add it to this soup at the very end if you would like. All right, just a couple more seconds for that. And just make these just a little bit smaller. All right, so I think this is looking good. So again, I'm just cutting this up because it was kind of stuck together in the package. All right, give this one more stir, then we'll add some other ingredients. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in this vegan chicken. I'm gonna add in this vegan chicken and then 3 cups of just plain water. All right, so I have 2 cups here. I'm just going to get 1 more cup. Do 1 cup here. I'm also going to add in my vegetable broth. So we're going to do 2 cups of vegetable broth. And I just have our Nature's Promise vegetable broth, so just do 2 cups. And set this to the side. So add this in. So we're also going to add in a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes, give some really great flavor to a lot of different soups. We're gonna add in 1 can of that. As well as 1 can, so again, before class, I drain and rinse our low sodium black beans. I'm gonna add those. And also 2 teaspoons of just chili powder. Also hope to give some good flavor. So we have 1. And then 2. Let me just stir this before I put the corn in. So the corn, so I already put this in the refrigerator to thaw overnight. I'm not sure if it might just take a little bit longer to cook if you do not do that as a step, but I'm just gonna use a super sweet white corn. So I'm going to put in this package. Or bag, I should say. All right, let me make sure I have all my ingredients in. Yep, so that should be good to go. So let me give this a good stir. You can also put in a little bit of salt and pepper if you would like as well. All right, so the next step with this, so we put in all of our ingredients and we're going to bring up the heat. So this is already on max. So once you bring it up to a boil, you're going to let it or turn it down and just let it simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then pretty much it's done for that soup. What else was I going to say with that? And so then at the end, what you would do is if you want any additional toppings, so again, anything like cilantro or green onion, Greek yogurt, guacamole, some chips or cheese, you can do so. So again, next step is just bringing this to a boil and then bringing it down to let it simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes. So not too easy to make, a great way to incorporate corn. And be super delicious as well. Okay. Okay, so let me just answer some questions. So are any of the giant vegetables of the GMO variety? So that's a good question. And I'm not too sure, but I can definitely look into that answer a little bit more for you. And then what can be used in place of onion? Yeah, so some people, honestly, if you don't like onion, I would just omit it. Or just not use it at all if you do not like onions. I'm trying to think what would be a good one, something good to substitute. I honestly, for this recipe, would just not put it in, and I think it would still have a pretty good flavor. And then if you can't use tomatoes, let's see. If you can't use tomatoes, let me think more about that answer too. I'm trying to think what would be a good substitute if you didn't want to use tomatoes. So I'm wondering if you don't want to use tomatoes, maybe because you don't like them or their their acidity. But I'll look that one up too. I'm trying to think of a good substitute for tomatoes. Maybe somebody else has a good answer. But those are all good questions. All right.